Hi friends, welcome back to my training series. I hope you're well and hanging in there. Another week of training done here, but before I get into this week's recap, I wanted to plug the new Ultra Origins series here on the channel, where I've been sharing conversations with inspiring runners who have recently finished their first ultra or a new distance. And many of these runners are viewers of this channel. And this week we'll be releasing the 4th episode with just such a runner, and I'm really excited to share her story with you. If you have recently finished or are about to finish your first ultra, or if you've recently tackled a new distance, let me know and let's share your story. Visit onwardendurance.com and click Ultra Origins at the top. I've also put a link in the description below. So let's talk about this week's training. Monday was a rest day, and then Tuesday I was assigned 75 to 90 minutes of easy running. The run felt pretty good, though I did feel like I was running harder than my pace would indicate. I ended up running 6.3 miles in 78 minutes. And then after work, I joined my regular Tuesday afternoon yoga class over Zoom. On Wednesday, I was assigned LT intervals and a strength workout. The intervals were 5 times 6 minutes hard with a 3-minute rest. In 85 minutes, I ran a total of 6.6 miles with 794 feet of gain. I felt really tired when I got home after the run, and I had to get to work. The timing of the day didn't exactly work out for me, so I ended up skipping the strength workout. On Thursday, I was assigned 40 minutes of either easy rowing or easy running. I got up early and went for a run around the neighborhood and finished with 3.8 miles. I felt heavy and slow during the run, which was really frustrating. But then after the run, I went back to the clinic for a follow-up appointment to talk about my chest pain. And the doctor offered to test for valley fever, which one of you had mentioned in one of your comments. And the test did come back negative. I also received a referral for a CT scan, which I hope to get scheduled this next week. On Friday, I was assigned 75 to 90 minutes of easy running. I did an easy out and back on roads and paved paths. I finished with 7.5 miles and almost 200 feet of gain. On Saturday, I was invited to pace a friend at the Cascade Crest 100, a popular run here in the Cascade Mountains. I was ready to go, but unfortunately my runner timed out at a couple aid stations before I was to be running with him. So instead, I ran on the Pacific Crest Trail. My pacing duties would have had me run 28 miles, but I didn't have enough water to carry and be out for that long unsupported, and sadly I didn't think to bring my water filter. I ran 10 miles southbound along the PCT and then turned around and came back. Alright, my watch just beeped 10 miles, so I'm gonna turn around. It was a really hot day too. It was 86 degrees when I finished, and I was really tired when I was done. In just under 6 hours, I did 20 miles with 4,300 feet of gain. Finally, on Sunday, I was assigned either a rest day or some walking. My muscles were still sore from the big mountain run, so I wanted to move and walk it out. So I walked to the grocery store and got a couple of things, getting me 1.7 miles in 29 minutes. Overall, I'm struggling to feel good about running right now, and this chest discomfort isn't helping. But I'm hopeful that we'll be able to understand the source of the pain and get it fixed. I'm hoping, and I'm also hoping that the running is going to improve. I finished this week with 10 hours and 36 minutes of running for a total of 44.3 miles. All right, let's jump into some Q&A. Thank you to all of those who commented with questions. Helen recently joined as a channel member and enjoyed a member-exclusive video where I was describing hallucinations I was having after finishing the Moab 240. And she asks if hallucinations have ever stopped me in my tracks, and also if I hallucinate at night. Well, my common hallucinations include a really strong sense of deja vu and also seeing writing on rocks and hills and mountains. I can't say that they've ever stopped me in my tracks, but they have confused me for many hours at a time as I just try to decipher what I'm seeing. I don't remember experiencing many hallucinations at night, but it might just be the ultra amnesia that's wiped such a thing from my memory. Most of my hallucinations aren't scary. They're just, misunderstanding the contours of shadows or something. I've heard definitely other runners have stories that are more interesting, seeing things that possibly could be scary, but thankfully I haven't had that issue. Cian, who is also a channel member, asks about what brands I use for long sleeve sun protection. Well, Path Projects, which I mentioned recently for my preference for shorts, they recently released the new sun hoodie, but I haven't run in it yet out in a run. I have used it just around the yard on a sunny day, and it was comfortable. But in the videos that you've seen, most of the time when I'm running in a long sleeve sun shirt, it's from Rabbit. They are so comfortable, and I do think that they do a great job of keeping the sun off. I'll put a link to that shirt in the description below. Emma asks if my recent lung pain could be virus related. Certainly it could be. I had been wondering if I might have breathed in something during Cardeano because I had that lingering cough for so many weeks afterwards. But so far the tests that the doctors have done haven't shown anything interesting. It is pretty frustrating to have such a niggling problem that is so difficult to diagnose. So yeah, it might be some leftovers from a virus or allergy or something. I don't know. I'm hoping we get it figured out soon. Erica asks which podcasts I listen to while running and what books I'm reading. Well, Erica, I'm not reading any books, but I do have a playlist of podcasts that I listen to while running. The first and probably my most favorite podcast to listen to while running is called TBTL, which means Too Beautiful to Live. It's a daily podcast. It's kind of hard to describe. Hosts Luke and Andrew discuss their life events and anxieties, and the show has endless inside jokes and references that make listening to it a lot of fun. It's also fairly meaningless, so if I zone out while I'm running and think about something else, I don't miss anything important from the podcast. That's one of the reasons why I like listening to this show. But mostly I like listening to their familiar voices in my ears to keep me company during my training runs. I also like listening to The Gist with Mike Pesca, and I also like laughing along with Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone. Lastly, Hiburu asks when to visit the Pacific Northwest for a running trip, and asks about some good 20 to 30 mile routes. Well, the summertime around here is just the most amazing time to visit. I would avoid June. You might think June's a good time to visit here, but we call it January because it can be winterish and just gross. July through October, though, is pretty good. July can be hot. There's usually good weather in August. And September and October have some decent temperatures, but the later you go into the summer, the more high chance you have of having to deal with wildfire smoke. As far as routes go, let's take a look at Stats Hunters. This is one of the great features about Stats Hunters is that you can filter things based on location or distance. So if I was to filter and show only the runs that I've done that are between 20 and let's say 35 miles, this will show stuff around here which might inspire some conversation. This trip here that I did, this is actually several years ago now, and I'm looking forward to doing it again, is the Enchantments. It's a fantastic, beautiful run. It's got a decent climb and some alpine lakes. That's a quite good one. I also saw on here that I wanted to mention, oh yeah, the Lewitt Trail around Mount St. Helens. It's 32 miles. It's also run as a commercial event, the Volcanic 50K with Go Beyond Racing, which is an amazing event. So maybe come here and run that event. But that's a pretty good one that sometimes people do in a day just on their own. So there's a couple, and then there's just so many. There's also a lot of stuff over the Olympic National Park, but I unfortunately haven't run over there yet, as you can see. But the other thing to check out is what we refer to as the Issy Alps, the mountains around Issaquah, east of Seattle. There's a lot of great running to do on Tiger Mountain and Cougar Mountain, and the other mountain that I can't remember right now because I can't remember it. But there's a lot of great running there. And also I want to mention that there's a really great Facebook group called the Seattle Mountain Runners Group. So if you are planning a trip to the Seattle area and you're looking for some good route recommendations, I would join that group and ask there. You might be able to get a list of some amazing run opportunities. Okay, thank you all for your questions this week. If you have a question you'd like me to answer in next week's video, please leave it in the comments below. A big thank you to all the channel members. I really appreciate your extra support of the channel. Thank you all very much. And everyone, I hope you have a really great week. I'll see you next week. All right, take care. Bye-bye.